Welcome to today's our class. We are in the lesson that is mechanics of particles. Coming to my introduction, myself K. Manjula, working as assistant professor of physics at Dr. BRR Government Degree College, Jadchalra, Mahabubnagar district. Today in this class, we are going to discuss these contents which you are observing in this slide. That is, first one is work energy theorem. Number 2, conservation of energy in case of two cases, that is conservative field. Next, non-conservative field. Next, collisions, types of collisions. In these types of collisions, today we are discussing about one-dimensional elastic head-on collisions. Let us see step by step. Before going to first content, that is work energy theorem, let us recall our preliminaries which are related to this one. I think you are all well known with the energy, physical quantity. What is energy? That is, energy is nothing but, see, energy is nothing but a capacity to do the work. The ability to do the work is known as energy. That means work and energy, I think so same, both are equal units and equal dimensional formula. So that means that is just recall that one, that is energy is a scalar quantity. Its dimensional formula is ml square t power minus 2, and coming to the units, joules and ergs. Joule is the SI unit and the erg is the CGS unit. Again, coming to the work is defined as the product of force and the displacement in the direction of the force. That is the work definition. So that is simply we read the work formula, that is work is equal to force into displacement, or work can be written as the dot product of F dot S. Sometimes force and displacement are not in the same direction. Suppose say if you observe this figure, in this body, this is the body, force is applied in this direction, but the body moves in along the horizontal direction. Then we can't use this simply the work done is Fs. That is not true. So for that purpose, we have to resolve this force in the direction of this force, in the direction of this displacement. So that is F cos theta in this direction, and in perpendicular direction, that is F sin theta. So this F sin theta gets cancelled with its weight of the body. The remaining that is F cos theta is the responsible for the displacement of this body. So in that case, we can write the work done. We can write the work done is nothing but force. Force, what is the force? That is F cos theta into S. F cos theta, that is Fs cos theta. That simply we can write it as F dot S. This is the actual work formula. Fs cos theta. If theta is equal to 0, theta is equal to 0 means F force and displacement are in the same direction. Cos theta, cos 0 is equal to 1. So then work is equal to, simply work is equal to force into displacement. Simply we can say that the product of force and the displacement is known as the work. So this is the calculation of work. So anyhow, this work and energy are same units, same dimensional form. Next, coming to the energy, mechanical energy. If we talk about a mechanical energy of two types, that is kinetic energy and the potential energy. Kinetic energy, I think this is also well known to you, that is kinetic energy is nothing but the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its motion is known as a kinetic energy. The expression for this kinetic energy is the half mv square. Here Ka depends upon the mass and the velocity. Similarly, coming to the potential energy, potentially the body which possesses the energy by its potential state. So that means the energy possessed by a body by virtue of its motion, by virtue of its position, configuration or configuration is known as the potential energy. This is Pa is equal to potential energy, gravitational potential energy. If we write this like this formula, potential energy is equal to mgh. Now coming to the work energy theorem, in the name itself, work is equal to energy. To calculate the work done by on the body, it is easy to calculate by using this work energy theorem. What this statement states that the work done by a force equal to the change in the kinetic energy of the particle. Okay, this is the work. Simply if we calculate, see here, this mathematical form of this work done is equal to final kinetic energy and the initial kinetic energy. That is, if a force, if suppose say this is a body, due to the application of this force, the body moves from A point to B point, here B point. Then its kinetic energy also changes from this m of mva square to of mvb square. The same, that is, if we calculate the change in kinetic energy, that must be equal to the work done on the body. So that is, if F is the force acting on the particle and it is displaced from point A to B, the work done on the particle can be written as by this equation. That is, work done is nothing but a change in its kinetic energy. Let us prove this work energy theorem. So first, same way, first calculate the work done by this force. Say this is a body. Due to the application of this force, first calculate this body move from A to small distance dr. Then the work done is nothing but according to our work done formula, force into displacement, that is F into dr. So total work can be calculated by integration of dw, that is W is equal to integration from A to B, that is in this first equation, first equation. So that is, the work done is nothing but a integration A to B F dot dr. What is F and what is dr? We have to substitute. For Newton's second law, what is the force? We can write this equation, that is m dv by dt. Here v is nothing but a velocity of particle. This can be written as rate change of position vector. V is equal to dr by dt. Then dr is equal to v dt. Substituting these two equations, that is the value of F and the value of dr. In first equation, what we get? This equation. So W is equal to integration A to B m dv by dt into v dt. Therefore W is equal to A to B, dt cancels here. Remaining is mv dv, m by taking m outside, integration A to B v dv. Integration of this v dv is nothing but v square by 2. After substituting these limits in this equation, we get this equation, that is W is equal to of mvb square minus of mvs square. That is simply, this is the final kinetic energy and initial kinetic energy. So the work done on the body is nothing but a simply change in kinetic energy, which is known as a work energy theorem. So this is about work energy theorem. Let us apply this theorem by considering the force as a conservative force. Conservative means the work done by the force does not depend upon the path. It depends upon only the initial and the final position only. So like that, by assuming our force is a conservative force, then if F is a conservative force, according to our vector concepts, its curl also 0. So curl F is equal to 0. Again, if F is a conservative force, that can be written as minus gradient of potential energy, force. So U is the potential energy of the particle. So by substituting, again this minus gradient is nothing but a gradient is the operator I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z that. So substituting we get this equation. F is equal to minus I dou u by dou x plus j dou u by dou y plus k dou u by dou z. Similarly, R is a position vector xi plus yj plus zk. Dr, differentiating this one, dxi plus dyj plus dzk. Calculate again, we are calculating the work again. F dot dr, just do the dot product of this f and dr. We get f dot dr is equal to minus dou u by dou x into dx minus dou u by dou y into dy minus dou u by dou z into dz. Totally this f dot dr is nothing but complete differential, that is du, potential energy. So now final work done is nothing but the work done in moving the particle from A to B, simply in the same way which we have calculated the work. W is equal to integration A to B f dot dr. Substituting this f dot dr is equal to du minus integration du. W is equal to minus of du, means integration of du is nothing but du ab. Substituting the limits, you get W is equal to minus ub minus ua. Finally we get the work done is nothing but ua minus ub. By seeing above equation, means already the work done is nothing but a change in kinetic energy. Here also the work done is the that is potential energy, ua minus ub. By equating this 4 and 4 is equal to 5, we get this equation of mvb square minus of mvva square is equal to ua minus ub. By taking b terms, b the energies at point b terms and energies at point a, on equating this, it is nothing but a of mvb square, it is nothing but a kinetic energy at point b. This is potential energy at point b. This is kinetic energy at point a, potential energy at point e. So that means Tb plus Ub is equal to Ta plus Um. That means at every point the total energy T plus U is equal to constant. So this is the property of a conservative field. So that means by seeing that by seeing above derivation, what we understand that, so in a conservative field, if a particle move from A to B, the sum of kinetic energy and potential energy should be constant. The total energy of the particle is same at all points, which is known as a conservation of energy. Let us calculate the work done by the non-conservative. If force is non-conservative, that means non-conservative means what? Non-conservative means the force, the work done by the force depends upon the path of the particle, not initial and final position. That means the work done here, the work done from A to B is different from, not equal to the work done from B to A. So this is the property of the non-conservative field. So let us see. Suppose say, let us calculate that. If the means if a particle, now if we calculate the work done by the non-conservative, it's simultaneously experienced by the conservative force and non-conservative forces. That is work done by the conservative, say that is Wc, and the work done by the non-conservative, say that is Wnc. According to work energy theorem, the work done is nothing but a change in kinetic energy. So work done by the conservative, work done by the non-conservative must be equal to energy. But already we know that this conservative, for a conservative field, this work done is nothing but a change in potential energy. Substituting this one, minus delta U plus work done by the non-conservative force is equal to delta T. Similarly, next step, W, the work done by the non-conservative is equal to delta T plus delta U, which is the total energy. That means here the total energy of the particle is equal to work done by non-conservative force. That is the difference between conservative and non-conservative. This is, if we observe this non-conservative field or force, the work, for example for non-conservative force is frictional force. If we consider frictional force, the work done by the frictional force is converted into heat energy, the work done. So that is because the work done from A to B is not equal to work done from B to A. So that work converted into heat energy. So according to our formula, this is delta E is equal to minus phi. This is phi is the heat energy. Frictional force is the loss. Here minus sign is the loss of total energy. After that, delta E plus phi is equal to 0. That means the work done by the non-conservative force also evolves heat energy, but in the not only in the form of heat energy, but also sometimes it evolves in the form of light energy and sound energy. Light and sound. So in the form of heat, light, sound. By this, what we understand that the energy converted from one form to another form, light energy, sound energy, heat energy, light, but we can't create the energy. So conclusion about the concept of this conservation of energy, what we conclude that this law of conservation of energy, what is that is the energy neither created nor destroyed, but the energy can converted from one form to another form, which is known as a well-known law of conservation of energy. So this is about conservation of energy. Let us enter into new concept, that is collisions. What is a collision? Collision means it is an interaction. It is an interaction or a collision. Okay. So that means in our daily life, how we understand this collision? See here, in our daily life, if two bodies collides or interact for a short interval of time, that is here, this is important here, short interval, time difference will be very less, then when we treat it as a collision. But in our physics, the meaning of collision is something different. So the correct definition of this collision is nothing but the strong physical interaction among bodies involving exchange of momenta in small intervals of time is called a collision. Here that is not important that particles may or may not be real contact. Suppose say these are the two particles. These are here. There is a contact between these two bodies. This is a collision. Even though there is no interaction between two bodies, there will be a change in a momentum. There will be a change in any direction of any body. So this is also considered to be a collision. So it is not necessary that the particles participating in the collision may or may not be in real physical contact. So that means some conditions has to follow. That is, see here, the first condition, so that is collision should satisfy this condition. The particle experience a relatively high force in a short interval of time. Okay. Next, the path of at least one of the particle or many at a time suddenly changes. One can easily distinguish the time before and after the collision. If any event satisfies these three conditions, that is said to be a collision. So for example, let us see so many examples for collisions. Suppose if the cricket ball system, if we consider, if a cricket ball is hit by a bat, what happens? The time for which a ball is in contact with the bat is very much less than the time to observe the motion of the ball. Here time difference. Suppose if the cricket ball hit the bat, the time difference is very small. We can't observe the motion of the ball. So So that is said to be a means in less interval of time that force will be maximum. That is known as a impulsive force. In this shorter interval of time, a huge force is applied on the ball, which is known as the impulsive force. This is also a example for the collision. See here another example for this collision. So this is also a collision. See, before collision, during collision, there is a interaction between these two bodies. Physical interaction is, that is real interaction, and after collision. Similarly, if we take another Rutherford alpha particle scattering experiment. See here, this is a nucleus. This is a nucleus. This is the alpha particle. This is if we consider this as a Rutherford's alpha particle scattering experiment, the alpha particle will not directly collide this nucleus, but here see here, the alpha particle experiences a repulsive force due to the nucleus, because when the alpha particle approaching the nucleus like this, due to the strong coulombic repulsive force, it turns its path like this. This is also considered to be a collision. There is a change in its path. So therefore this is also a collision. That means there may not be physical contact between these two bodies. Even though there is no contact between this alpha particle and nucleus, there is a change in the path of the alpha particle. This is also considered to be as a collision. Next, let us try to understand the classifications of collisions on the basis of direction of colliding bodies. On the basis of direction, this means particles may come from any side, any direction, that is x direction, xy direction, xyz direction, that is along the line, along the plane, in the space. Depending upon that direction, these collisions are divided into two parts. That is head-on collision. This is known as also one-dimensional collision. Head-on, one-dimensional or direct collision. Next, another one is oblique collision. Maybe these are in plane or in space. That is two-dimensional or three-dimensional. Head-on collision. What is the meaning of head-on collision? That is, see here, if the motion of colliding particles before and after the collision are along the line joining the centers before collision. Suppose say these are the two bodies. The two after collision also is their motion in the along the same like this, like this, along this lines. That this type of collisions are known as a head-on collision. That means in a collision, if the motion of colliding particles before and after the collision are along the line joining their centers before collision, these are the head-on collision. Oblique means if the motion of colliding particles before and after the collision are not along the initial line of motion, then the collision is said to be a oblique collision. That means for example, see here, this is head-on collision. This is in the space. This is two oblique collision. This is also oblique collision. When the collisions take place in the plane, that is two-dimensional. Three-dimensional means in the space, that is three-dimensional. That means these are the one-dimensional and two-dimensional and three-dimensional collisions. Again, these collisions are again for two types depending upon the conservation of kinetic energy. Conservation, that is where the collision in which momentum also conserved and kinetic energy also conserved. So So these type of collisions are known as elastic collisions. Coming to the another type of in collisions, that is inelastic collisions. The collisions in which only the momentum is conserved but not conservation of kinetic energy. This is known as a inelastic collision. Naturally, in inelastic collision, the particle will combine together, fuse together like this. See here, this is a bus, this is a car. When they collide to each other, after collision, they combine, they fuse to each other. So this happens in the inelastic collision and travel with common velocity. After collision, they not differ with different velocities in the case of elastic collisions. See, this is also in example for you are observing. This is also example for inelastic collision. Let us discuss that is elastic collision in one dimension. In one dimension. For this is by seeing this figure you understand that these are the head-on collisions in one dimension, means along x direction. So that is our bodies, say our two bodies, that is m1 m2. Two bodies are moving with velocities, initial velocities u1 and u2. After collision they differ and they travel with final velocities v1 and v2. This is the system which we are considering. Let us what we have to do, we have to calculate the final velocities of these two bodies. That means this is a elastic collision. So according to the definition of elastic collision, momentum should be conserved and the kinetic energy also conserved. Apply that formulas. So applying first conservation of linear momentum. So this is the m1 u1 is the momentum of first body, m2 u2 is the momentum of second body. Similarly, momentum of first body after collision, and m2 v2 is the momentum of second body after collision. By this equation we can get this first equation by taking m1 terms and m1 taking as a common. M1 into u1 minus v1 is equal to m2 into v2 minus u2. Say this is the first equation. Similarly, apply the conservation of kinetic energy. That is first body, second body before collision, this is after collision. Of m1 u1 square plus of m2 v2 u2 square plus is equal to of m1 v1 square is equal to of m2 v2 square. In this also, by taking m1 as a common, u1 square minus v1 square is equal to m2 v2 square minus u2 square. As our collision is elastic, both the first and second that means linear momentum and the kinetic energy both should be conserved. So dividing this second equation by 1, we get this equation. Finally we get this relation, that means u1 minus u2 is equal to minus of v1 minus v2. This is the property of the elastic collision. That means in elastic collision, this is the formula, that is relative velocity of approach before collision must be equal to relative velocity of separation v2 minus v1. So that this is must be equal to. By this, just eliminate v1. What is the equation for v1? Just write this v1 value in above equation, that is momentum conservation of momentum equation. We get m1 into u1 minus, in place of v1 we are substituting this equation, v2 plus u2 minus u1 is equal to m2 into v2 minus u. Simplify the total equation. By simplifying this total equation, we get the equation for V2. V2 is nothing but the velocity of second body after collision. So this is the final equation. V2 is equal to 2m1u1 by m1 plus m2 plus m2 minus m1 by m1 plus m2 into u2. Similarly, if we substitute the V2 equation, V2 in place of V2, if we substitute this equation, again the same, if we follow the same process, we get the final equation for V1, that is final velocity of first body after collision. This is the V1 and V2. How we calculate the final velocities of the bodies in elastic collision. That is, let us discuss some cases by considering the V1 and V2 equations. V1 and V2 equations. What happens if the colliding particles have same mass? On substituting in this V1 equation and V2 equation, this is see here, coming to V1 equation, this m1 is equal to m, this term will 0. We simply V1 is equal to, you get it as a V2. V1 is equal to u2. Similarly, V2 is also, you get u1. That means what is the meaning of this case? Means when in case of an elastic collision of two bodies of equal masses, the bodies exchange their velocities after collision. Simply they exchange the velocity of second body. The initial velocity of second body goes to velocity of first body after collision. Similarly, V2 is equal to u1, like this. In this case, again consider another case when second body is at rest. Means the two colliding bodies have same mass, which is the second body take assumed to be at rest. Then again substituting these conditions in our V1 and V2 equations, V2 must be equal to u1, u1 is equal to 0. What is the meaning of this one? The colliding particle comes to rest, that is u1 is equal to, v1 is equal to 0. That is, the colliding particle comes to rest and the other particles moves with the same original velocity of the colliding particle. Next, suppose if masses are different. In about two cases, we consider that is m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. That cases are completed. Here, what happens if m2 is greater than m1? Again, the second body at rest. Substituting these conditions again in our V1, V2 equations, we get V1 is equal to minus u1, V2 is equal to 0. What is the meaning of this one is that you just substitute, you get this V1 and V2 values. When a lighter body particle collides with a much heavier particle at rest, the lighter particle rebounds with the same. That means V1 is equal to minus u1. That means, see here, this is the higher body. This lighter body collides with heavier body. It rebounds the same velocity, that is minus u1. Whereas this u2 must be equal to v2. This is u2 is 0 and v2 also 0. That is the same velocity while the heavier particle remains at rest. That is if we consider the interaction between a rat and a elephant. That is, similarly, just another case, just assume if m1 is greater than m2, and similarly the second body is at rest. That means quietly opposite. Suppose say if this is the heavier body, this is the lighter body. What happens if it collides with this body? What happens? This v1 must be is equal to u1. This body, its velocity is u1, its velocity u2 is equal to 0. This first body continues its motion with its original velocity. but the second body moves with twice of it the velocity of the first body. That means v2 is equal to 2u1. So that is the interaction between elephant and the rat. If elephant hits the rat which is at rest, what is this condition explains. So that means when a heavy particle collides with a lighter particle at rest, the velocity of heavier particle remains unchanged, but the lighter particle moves with double the velocity of the heavier particle. These are the some conditions in this elastic head-on collisions. This is about elastic head-on collision. Let us see, this is today's class. Let us see what we have learnt in our this class. In this class we discussed about the work energy theorem. That is, energy is nothing but a capacity to do the work. Similarly, work is calculated by the force into displacement. This coming to the case of mechanical energy. Mechanical energy is of two types, that is kinetic energy, potential energy. The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its motion is known as a kinetic energy. Its expression is half mv square. The energy possessed by a body by virtue of its position configuration is known as a potential energy. Its equation is mgh. Coming to work energy theorem, the work done by a force is equal to the change in the kinetic energy of the particle. So that is W is equal to half mvb square minus half mvs square. This is the proof of the work energy theorem. Just we calculated the work done by the force. When the force moves a body from A point to B point, the work done is integration A to B f dot dr. F is equal to mdv by dt, v is equal to dr by dt. Substituting this equation, we get this equation, integration. Finally, this is the work energy theorem. If we consider F is a conservative force, if F is a conservative force, its curl must be equal to 0. Again, this F can be written as a gradient minus gradient of potential energy. F is equal to F is equal to this equation, and R is equal to position vector. dr is equal to F dot dr, means we are calculating again work. F dr must be equal to change in potential energy. So that is UA, that is work done is equal to UA minus UB. Already the work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. By comparing this 4 and 5, above 4th and 5 equation, we get this equation of mvb square minus half mva square is equal to UA minus UB. Half mvb square plus UB is equal to half mva square plus UA. That means total energy at 2 points will be same. That is T at point B, U at point. Kinetic energy and potential energy at point B is equal to kinetic energy and potential energy at point A. That means T plus U is equal to constant. What is the meaning of this equation is that in a conservative field, if a particle move from point A to B, the sum of kinetic and potential energy remains the same. This is the conservation of energy. Non-conservation, that means the work done is not equal from A to B, is not equal to from B to A. That is depends upon the path. Let us calculate the work done. That is the work done by the two types of forces, conservative force, non-conservative force, must be equal to change in its kinetic energy, this equation Wc plus Wnc is equal to delta T. But already we know that Wc is equal to minus delta U. Substituting, totally the work done by the non-conservative force is equal to change in the, that is change in the energy of the particle. But the work done by the, suppose if we, the example for this is non-conservative force is frictional force. The frictional force, the work done by the frictional force will convert into heat energy. Not only heat energy in the light, in the form of light, in the form of sound. By this we can say that the energy can convert from one form to another form, but we can't create the energy. So that is well-known law, that is law of conservation of energy. This is law of conservation of energy. The energy neither created nor destroyed, but the energy can converted from one form to the another. After completion, that one, collisions. The strong physical interaction among bodies involving exchange of momenta in small interval of time is called as a collision. Collisions are of that is two types depending upon the direction, that is head-on collision, or these are also called as a one-dimensional or direct collision, and second one is oblique collision. Head-on collision, that means in a collision, if the motion of colliding particles before and after the collision are along the line joining their centers of before collision, then the collisions are said to be head-on collision. And coming to oblique collisions, in a collision, if the motion of colliding particles before and after the collision are not, so you see, are not along the initial line of motion, then the collision is said to be oblique collision. If the collisions are confined to a plane xy direction, that is a two-dimensional, if the particles are moving in space after collision, then that are known as the xyz collisions or space collisions. Space collisions. These are three-dimensional collisions. See, by seeing this figure, these are the one-dimensional, these are the two-dimensional collisions. And basing upon the conservation of kinetic energy, again the collisions are considered to be as elastic collisions and inelastic. Elastic collisions, only the elastic collisions, both kinetic energy and momentum are conserved, whereas in inelastic collision only the momentum conserved, not kinetic energy conserved. We discussed about this elastic collision in one dimensional also. For this we consider our system is here. Just we apply the conservation of momentum, conservation of energy to our that is system. Finally we get an important relation, that is this one, the relative velocity of approach is equal to relative velocity of separation after collision. By this on substituting v1 value in this third equation, we get final equation of the second body. v2 is equal to like this, 2m1 u1 by m1 plus m2 plus m2 minus m1 by m1 plus m2 into u2. Similarly we get the v1 equation also. After that some cases here, when two bodies equal masses, that is in case of an elastic collision of two bodies equal masses, the bodies exchange their velocities. v1 is equal to u2, v2 is equal to u1. Similarly, when the second body is at rest, same case, m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. Then we get v2 is equal to u1, u1 is equal to 0. That means the colliding particle comes to rest and the other particle moves with the original velocity. This is the case. Next, if masses are not equal, that is m2 is greater than m1 and second body is at rest, we get v1 as minus u1, v2 as 0, approximately is equal to 0. That means the interaction between lighter particle and the heavier particle. The lighter particle rebounds with the same velocity by this, and while the heavier particle remains at rest. This is at rest only, it rebounds. Similarly, if m1 is greater than m2, then we get v1 is equal to u1, v2 is equal to 2u. Opposite, heavier body and the lighter body. That is, lighter body moves double the initial velocity of the heavier body, but this heavier body continues its motion with its original velocity. So this is about today's class.